My name is Joseph. I'm a 2022 student at IIM Bangalore. So my CAT journey so far has been starting from 2017, where I gave my first CAT attempt. A brief introduction of myself before I jump into the CAT. So I studied in Madras Institute of Technology. I passed out in the year 2016. I'm an engineer by profession. And after which I had a strong 4 years of work experience in the telecommunication sector. I worked in Airtel for 4 years in Delhi, in Lucknow, Chennai, and Pune. I started my CAT preparation in 2017. I had given 3 CAT attempts in 2017, 18, and 19. And in 2019 is when I cleared CAT and I did get good marks. I got an overall of 98.14 percentile, and my sectional cutoff for DILR was 99.63. And then now here I am at IIM Bangalore. I'm a second year student now. So coming to the CAT preparation. So in general, for any CAT exam, for which I've given 3, we start early on. We start around in May or maybe even in June. And then what we do is initially we first try to get our foundation right. So this depends on your level of preparation. So if you're giving CAT for the first time, then you have to focus more on your basics, wherein you need to solve some problems. You need to get those concepts right for quantitative. You need to, have a good vocabulary. So these are these foundation steps which happen in the first 2 months of preparation, right from May, June, and July. And along with your preparation, you start giving mock tests. So, mock tests are very important in your CAT preparation because it's a simulation of the actual event. And progressively, you can see your scores improving or your scores declining, the focus areas where you need to work on. So the CAT preparation starts with your foundation, and then later on when you move to July, August, September, you start giving more and more mock tests to prepare yourself for the actual exam. So my CAT preparation started in 2017, where I just worked on my foundations for a long time and then started giving my mocks. And in the later years in 2018 and 2019, because I was working at the same time, so I used to give only the mock tests and analyze those mocks and see how to improve myself. So one of the benefit of giving a lot of mock tests is you can see yourself progressively in the direction in which you want to see yourself. You know the areas where you're strong at, you know the areas where you're weak at, and progressively you can make improvements to your strengths, and you can touch upon your weaknesses as well. So coming specifically to the CAT examination. So the CAT examination is one examination which tests your mental aptitude as well as your patience. So given the time constraint, you always find it difficult to choose the right question, to answer the questions, and to complete the test on time. So I'll just speak more about the DILR section. So the DILR section is a more is quite different from quantitative aptitude and vocabulary section. So this is because you typically have 8 sets of questions, and each set has 4 questions, or some questions have 2. And if you're able to solve one set, you'll be able to score all four questions right. So typically in any DILR kind of preparation, what you should be focusing on is the number of sets which are able to complete and not the number of questions. So typically, a good starting would be around 4 sets. 4 out of the 8 sets, and you can make that improvement to around 6 sets. So when you start preparing for CAT, DILR is one of those sections where there is no textbook material or there is no hard and fast rule. It depends on your experience. The more number of problems you solve in DILR, the better you get at solving DILR set questions. So I can break down DILR into 2. One is data interpretation and one is logical reasoning. And you can take a call on where you want to focus, because in total you'll have 8 questions, 4 in DI and 4 in LR, and you can be good in both. So when you start your preparation, what I would advise all of you is to focus on solving a number of questions, because each question is repeated. You can have questions related to time distance. You can have questions related to pie charts. You can have questions related to histograms. You can have questions related to population and that population growth. So these are the typical kind of questions which are asked in DILR. And most of these questions have a standard set of solutions as well. For example, a typical question in DILR is to find the missing names. So you're given a set of professions, you're given a set of names, and you're given a set of locations, and they'll give you, sentences on how to solve this, who belongs to which location and to what profession. So typically solving those problems are more internalized when you solve a number of problems. So I cannot stress more, but preparation and experience are the key for solving DILR questions. And typically in a 1 hour time in which you get to solve around 8 sets, anywhere between 6 to 7 sets is a good threshold for you to get above a 99 percentile. What is really important is to know which set you need to attempt. With the level of experience you have, like if you have solved questions previously in your mock test, in your previous CAT attempts, in your DILR specific test, you understand that, okay, this is a problem I can solve and this will take less amount of time. Or you'll get to know that, okay, this is a set which I can solve, but I don't have so much of time. And the third set is, this is a set which I don't know I can solve, and I don't have time. So you classify the sets into 3 categories. One is the set I know and it does not take time. The second is the set I know, but I know it takes time. And the second set is I don't know and I don't know how much time it takes. So you attempt the easy sets first. And once you're able to score on the easy sets, you move on to the difficult sets. So typically what happens in most mock tests is you won't be able to solve all 8 sets. I mean, it's quite rare that you're able to solve all 8 sets. So you attempt the easy sets first, and then you move on to sets which are, you can solve, but it takes time to solve. When you move on to these sets, be sure to read the questions, because there are some questions in the CAT which have multiple choice answers, and there are questions where you have to fill in the answers. So typically the questions where you have to fill in the answers are more difficult. So if you're attempting a difficult set, try to answer the multiple choice questions faster, because you can always do reverse calculation to arrive at the answer. In fact, during my 2019 CAT exam, an entire set I was able to solve with the questions and the MCQs which they gave. So that is one methodology in which you can solve the tough sets. So my tips for you for DILR is practice a lot, because I cannot stress more how important it is to practice, because you get an experience. And when you see the paper, when you see that question on your final CAT paper, it's something that which you can do. So it's very important preparation. Solve as many problems as you can. And during my preparation for CAT in all 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19, I always made it a point to solve one VARC, comprehension set and one DILR problem every day. So this can be from any textbook, or it can be from online resources, but just make sure you solve 1 or 2 DILR problems every day. This is just to give you a hang of it, and so that you don't lose touch of it. Solve as many mock tests as you can, so those give you more experience. So the first point is gain sufficient experience, so that when you see a problem, it's an easy problem, or it's a difficult problem, but the methodology how to solve that problem. So experience is crucial, and the only way you can get that experience is practicing as many mock tests or material as you can. The second portion for my second tip at solving DILR is focus on solving a set in its entirety. So don't try to solve 2 questions and then move on to the next set. I mean, if you're devoting an ample amount of time for a section, try to solve it as soon as you can. Of course, there might be 1 or 2 questions which is, exceeding the calculation limit. At that point of time, you can feel free to stop at 3 questions and then move on to the next set. It does make sense, but as far as possible, try to solve all 4 questions right. The third tip which I can give for DILR is focus on the things which you can progressively improve. For example, uh, uh, in the sense that, try to get more familiar with unfamiliarity, because in most of the problems in DILR, you won't have complete information. You might have only partial information, and you should be mentally capable to understand that, this is all the information I have, and let me stop my solving of the problem. For example, you don't have information about, you're trying to solve a pie chart, and then you don't have information about, how many uh, sorry, you're trying to solve a Venn diagram, and you don't have information about one or two factors which is required to solve that problem. Be comfortable with leaving that information blank, and then moving on to the questions, reading those questions and seeing whether those questions require you to compute those values. Because all the questions does not require you to complete the entire problem to understand the problem in its entirety. So, try to get comfortable with not solving the problem in its entirety. Feel free to have ambiguous positions, like, two people for one position, or something like that. So try to get familiar with not being able to solve the problems fully, and then move on to the questions. From the questions, go back to your solution, see where you can fit it in, and then again come back and give an answer. So those would be my 3 tips for you solving the DILR problems. And all the best for your DILR preparation and for your CAT examination. Specific. So what EduShastra offers is 3 values which are very important to helping you succeed in your CAT. So the first one is its ability-based model, which means that you get your concepts cleared at a level, and then you move on to the next level. You can take an example of any student who is weak in geometry, for example, in the quantitative aptitude. So unless he is comfortable in solving geometry questions, he just doesn't move to a next grade. So basically, there is a lifetime kind of a program which happens, and there are successive progressions, successive stages. And unless you are clear in one stage, you don't move on to the next stage. The primary reason is because or you don't amplify your weaknesses. That is basically, after every mock you solve, you realize that, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are the areas which I can focus on. And you try to improve on your weaknesses so that you don't amplify it as you progress through the next stages of your CAT preparation. So basically, get your foundations right. Once you identify your weaknesses, you try to improve those weaknesses, and that's where EduShastra can help you in improving your weaknesses. The second value which EduShastra brings to the table is its learning groups. So they classify into cohorts based on your CAT percentile, like the 50 percentile, where the focus should be on foundation exercises and foundation and learning applications. So those are the areas where you focus on in the primary level. So these are for anywhere between 50 to 60 CAT percentile, and then you move on to more application oriented and practice oriented for those above 80 or 90 percentile. So these cohorts help you to be with students of the same category, and the teaching and the pedagogy is focused on these cohorts. So this gives every student an equal opportunity to learn, irrespective of their primary experience in CAT, or their whether they're a fresher or whether they've given CAT a couple of times. So this really helps students to be in the right set, to be among the right set of people and receive that focus in their respective cohorts. The third value which EduShastra brings is, again, its prize leadership. So EduShastra has a basket of services, including preparation for your XAT, GMAT, CAT, and the GDPI and PDP as well. So what this does is it makes sure that you don't, you have a single platform to prepare for all these different exams. Given the uncertainty in CAT and the XAT, you can always have your preparation oriented in different exams all at the same time, and EduShastra helps you with that. And they do offer money back guarantees in case you do not progressively make it to to the next stage. Another, focus which EduShastra is bringing is to inculcate a visionary approach. Similar to, when you learn, you have visuals and then you have audio, and EduShastra is trying to start people, learning through doing. So which is really important. You can learn through visuals and audio, fine, but when you really start doing those practice problems, those mocks, is when you really understand how to solve problems and how to really excel